Hello, everybody. James Rink here. It is July 5th, 2018. And today I have Adrian Espinoza with us again, and he's going to do some more channeling for us. Of course, in the past, Adrian has channeled different entities, including Michael Jackson, JFK, and most recently you were channeling Lincoln Clay, who was one of the heads. I'd say heads. One of the leaders of the so-called the Super Soldier Army. And I guess what we found through Lincoln Clay is that super soldiers, of course, this is Super Soldier Talk. Thank you for joining me. We explore different type of Milab ET alien phenomenon, and the Milab has to do with the military abductions. But super soldiers are people that have been shot up with certain types of femto technology in which they can shapeshift into a super soldier. Could be I say that in various forms. They have different types of super soldiers, but Lincoln Clay is one of these people. And but him, it seems like they keep him under lock and key in underground base, and he doesn't really have the freedoms that a lot of us in the civilian sector when they put us back. And again, both of us are super soldiers. I went under by the name of Sabretooth, and Adrian, what names or alters did you go by?
Well, I went by a altar by the name of Texatron, which was channeled by Jessica Morocco. And then I went by another altar by the name of Damien, which is a medieval wizard, AI wizard. And it was really interesting how I was able to put all the pieces together about that kind of story. That's kind of a longer story where I came in with a lot of those different types of altars that were given to me in Project Monarch. And of course, Project Monarch, has a lot to do with what we know Project Montauk. So I imagine a lot of that had to do with Montauk and a lot of the programming that we went through, and then we started getting a lot of our memories, remembering who we were at that time as one of our alters and clones.
Okay, and Adrian's website is forcevspower.com. I'll put the link in the description. So, we could go on and on and on about the last show, but I think it's actually relevant to bring this up because it's important to kind of to tie in to where we last were exploring. And of course, on the last show with Adrian, you talked a little bit about Captain Howdy, who was this cyborg that looked like had like kind of a skull type face. I'm not sure how in the world they could actually shapeshift someone into that type of form, but he went. I don't have my notes in front of me, but he was a former sheriff, I believe. Was it a sheriff or what?
Yes, that's correct. And he was a sheriff and somehow affiliated within the military as well. And we've discovered that he was also mind wiped by the MIBs, and he was taken to this base supposedly to be turned into a super soldier. We're not quite sure what kind of super soldier. We're thinking it could have been AI, which, could have been cyborg. I'm thinking he's a cyborg super soldier, and they took him to the base and basically mind wiped him. And from what we discovered is that he was just a regular civilian guy working for the sheriff's department and got into the military as well. And it's kind of interesting how you kind of put everything to the pieces together. But I know another guy that I was talking to that was a sheriff, and he was in the military as well, and he actually remembers a lot of how he was mind wiped, and he also remembered some of his clone names, which I can't remember what he was telling me, but I was kind of relating it to what happened with this Captain Howdy when he became a super soldier. And he has an identity which was named Crow, which they call him Crow, and he is actually able to turn into a cyborg, almost like if anybody ever seen the movie Ghost Rider, he almost looks like Ghost Rider. I also wanted to share, there was a woman that I was talking to here in Utah that actually got to see him in that form. And when she told me, um, what she saw and how she described what he looked like, it was exactly the way he looked when he was looking for me at the bar. And the people at the bar said that they were actually looking, he was actually looking for me. So if he is sent out in that form, which a lot of people have not seen him in the skull form as Crow, because that's his identity, which could be very deadly. They have seen him in his civilian form, which is Captain Howdy.
Yeah. So Adrian, it's important that, or at least I want to mention this to the audience members. Captain, whatever his actual real name was, we did get that name in the last video. I don't have that in my notes, but apparently he died, and then they reanimated his corpse.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how they have some form of necromancy going on. And then that's when they brought him into these programs. But can you explain a little bit more about what happened at this bar that you were in? Did you actually see this skeleton-like creature, or did you see him, or is it somebody else that was asking you about him? Can you explain that a little bit better, please? Thanks.
No, I didn't actually see him, but the people said he was actually looking for me. But when that lady described what he looked
Wait,
like,
stop. When the
okay,
people say that he was looking for you, what do they actually say? Do they say that some random person was looking for you? Did they say Captain Howdy was looking for you? Or what name did they go by? He go by?
they said actually Captain Howdy, and they actually said that this man was wearing cowboy boots and he had cowboy hat on. Um, it was really strange. And for some reason, there was another agent kind of looking guy that walked in from the SSP, sat down next to me. Not quite sure if this is in relation to do with another project, but he was actually looking for Captain Howdy as well.
And I'm assuming Captain Howdy never did actually get to meet with you.
No, he didn't.
Why not? Was he gone
Uh,
by the?
by the time I left, he was gone. I mean, I'm
Oh.
sorry. By the time I got there, he was gone. Is what I'm trying to say.
So this guy showed up before you even got there and was asking people.
He was waiting for me, according to what they said.
Did they say
After,
he was acting weird or drinking weird or doing anything weird? I don't know.
they said that he looked kind of strange. They've never seen that guy in that bar before, because normally I always go to that bar every week and everybody knows me, but they only see people that are return customers mainly, not a lot of strangers that come into that bar, basically.
Hmm.
It's kind of like a friendly small bar.
And did you have, before that happened, did anybody mention a Captain Howdy to you before? Say some Captain Howdy was trying to get a hold of you?
Just mainly the bartender. A lot of people, he would basically he was kind of asking around if they knew me or have seen me around. Other people didn't really say too much. I did notice that a lot of people looked like they were kind of shocked, or like their expressions, they were kind of like nervous or something.
Hmm. Okay, so after that happened, did Mr. Howdy or Captain Howdy ever show up again?
Yes. They said he showed up a second time looking for me, and that was about it. And then I never heard anything. And then as months went by, that's when I met this lady from Salt Lake saying that she was under attack by him, and she actually got to see Crow turn into that form.
So is Captain Howdy trying to attack you as well, or was that just a misunderstanding?
I think the reason why he was trying to reach out is because we know about him. We've been working with him. We've been talking about him. He probably wanted some information about this woman. I'm kind of feeling like a link there for some reason between me and this other woman. Maybe he has some kind of psychic skill where he's able to see the future timelines, and actually me helping this woman with her programming. And so when she told me that she had something that she took, and I'm thinking that she probably took one of his secret weapons that see, he's like a double agent, so he's sent out to basically take care of business, with some of these reptilians or whatever race that he's working with to go after. She might have took one of his weaponry. She might got one of his ideas, and I did confront her about that, and she did kind of confirm that she did took one of his weapons.
Okay. All right. Well, so there you have it. And so keep us in the loop if you get any more updates from the Crow.
Okay.
So moving on here, I do want to mention the agenda, what we have in store today. We also, and apparently Anthony Zender is with us. If we can.
Oh, awesome. Welcome, Anthony.
If I don't think I think he's having mic issues, so
Okay.
may be with us today. We'll see. Also, the last video we ended with, apparently I have some alters that were put into some kind of super soldier sent back in time to infiltrate the Nazis. And in that particular group, I went by, or timeline, I went by the name of Elon, which doesn't seem like a very German name, so I'm not quite sure what in the world you're picking up here, Adrian. But apparently I wanted to, or that version of me, that clone or alter, wanted to share more information. So I was hoping we could perhaps start with that and then move on to some other content I have with Heather Anderson, who worked in an underground base making super soldiers. And then we also are going to explore a Nazi Milab base. We have another story or experience to share. And we also have Anthony. Okay, so Anthony, if you could possibly mute your mic. If not, I'll mute him. Okay. Well, once let me type this in here. Okay, so go ahead, Adrian, and begin channeling with your board, and I'll message Anthony in private.
Okay. What kind of questions do you have in mind for Elon?
Well, the question is just pick up where you left off.
Okay, so we've discovered that Elon was one of your alters in a timeline of the Nazi Party, having to do with the Kruger project. But this alter somehow still believes that there's a war going on between the Nazi Party and the good party, part of Kruger. And for some reason, I'm getting that Kruger, they kind of abandoned him, and so he turned towards the Dark Fleet, and now he's working with Hitler, one of his clones, that is wanting to take over some of these alliances, from what I'm picking up from the board.
Okay, well, in that particular timeline, apparently he was sent back in time, I believe, to replace Hitler. The goal was to kill Hitler and then put that clone in its place.
That's correct.
So what went wrong or right? I don't know, depending on what perspective you're looking at here.
What went wrong with him trying to take over Hitler is what you're asking?
Was he killed or murdered, or did somebody find out?
Okay, I'm asking him right now. He was captured. by Gabriel Kruger. Try to recruit him back into Kruger project. It says here that he escaped, and now he's building his own army. Still working for Darkfleet.
All right. Now, for audience members who don't understand any of this stuff, Kruger was a military contractor from a parallel reality in which the Nazis won World War II, and they have come over to this reality. I'm not going to say necessarily to finish the job, but to perhaps promote the tenets of Nazism that I and I want to be very, very hesitant to hear what I say, because what happened over there is different than what happened here. That the Nazis did not kill the Hebrews. I don't even think they put them in the camps. They embraced them. Apparently, some of them, not all of them. But
I've been over to that reality.
Go ahead, Anthony. Yeah,
I've been over there, and it's ran well and nice, and that actual reality is seeping into this one. It's going to. And people are going to be surprised by what is this Nazi reality coming in.
So, Anthony, why don't you go ahead and give a little quick introduction about yourself so the audience members know who you are, please? Thank you.
Definitely. My name's Anthony, and I'm a super soldier, and I've been aware of this for about the past 8 years now. I went through the awakening process, understanding that I got abducted, and going through that process of finding out what was behind that. And through that actual awakening experience, James, what you're doing was a key thing, because you obviously had the same things happening to you that were happening to me. So, I mean, basically that was us awakening to being super soldiers. And in my life, I'm very active in mystery schools and meditation and things to remember what I've been involved in. So every night I have memories of what I've been involved in and putting it all together. And I would say that right now I'm like at total recall right now, because I go to bed at night and I'm fully aware of everything that's going on the higher dimensions.
Great. And I do want to mention that Anthony, as well as myself, have is that the right word? has worked for Kruger in the past, and
We still do.
Well, okay. Well, in my particular experience, what I was able to get recover was experience on Mars. I guess they have a presence there as well. But can you share any of your specific Kruger memories? What do you recall about these bases or people?
For Kruger, I actually do remember. I mean, I'll just start it off right here. I mean, I remember my memory of getting sent back in time. I was shaking hands with Gabriel Kruger and a whole bunch of higher up people, and that was actually the finishing of my career, and that was when they sent me back. And I mean that's just one that was these memories come back in my dreams throughout the years. But now that I look back on them, I remember what they were about. And I mean, I was on a ship with them shaking hands, and pretty much it was like, okay, you're done here, but that's when you decide to come back. And that involves like the whole memory erasing everything. And basically my whole life has been about remembering what I got sent back, from. and now everything's becoming like a synchronicity in my life, because as the 20 and back goes, like you can see the timeline. If time is going like this, and then you get taken on this parallel timeline where you do all your super soldier missions and have your super soldier life, and then you finish it, and then you get sent back, and then you live out this life, and then while you're living out this life, these memories are coming back. You know what I'm saying? As you're living out your parallel life. So that's what's happening to me, as the best I can explain it. And I mean, for Kruger, I have I have missions of being a runner, which I was told because obviously in this remembering process, you're looking for answers, and the most answers that I have found so far is by Peter. He knows the most, and he was the one that actually informed me of being involved with Kruger and Monarch and being a runner, and then that information made all my memories make sense of what I was experiencing, being off on these other planets, and just doing things like that are impossible, like levitation, telekinesis, teleportation, which is what Kruger runners basically do. All of these abilities were found out by the Nazis, they're the next, step to what is not seen. It's just this is all going on in the unseen, but it's soon to be. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Anthony. So you threw some terms out there. Oh, yeah, Adrian.
I just wanted to thank Anthony for sharing that. That was great.
Yeah.
I have so much more to share, because there's so many memories coming back, that I mean, I'm it's like a lot of rescue missions, like actually James, the one that you are talking about, the Monarch rescue mission. I have memories of that, actually, that I had coming back in March, and I was in an underground base, and I was doing, I was definitely throwing shit around with my mind, using telekinesis. We infiltrated the base, and I actually remember taking out a guard. This guard was just a regular guard. But remember, I don't remember. I'll just explain what happened. But I remember taking out a guard, and I remember being in the base and using telekinesis and levitating. And then I remember actually, and then at that point, I got in touch with Peter, and I told him about that, and he immediately got in touch back with me, and we talked, and he told me about that mission, the Monarch mission, and rescuing the kids from the base. And he told me that was what I was remembering, was that memories from that mission. And basically, I do also remember escaping with the kids. They're teenagers. And I actually remember being with 3 of them, I think, and we were running away. And basically I remember I was with them, and then we were Monarch obviously released a runner of their own, because I remember seeing the runner of theirs, and it's a dark, very dark entity, and it was very far away from me, and then automatically it was just boom right in my face. And then I had to obviously fight it, but I actually woke up. And so I don't remember fighting it. But that was my memories of the Monarch mission. And then I talked to Peter about it, and he's like, "You were there. You were with Lincoln Clay. You used a huge, basically, weapon to infiltrate the base." And he confirmed all that. And that was for Kruger. So You know, that's just what's going on right now.
That's
All right.
awesome.
Well,
Wow.
first of all, I want to mention to audience members, you mentioned Darkfleet. Now, Darkfleet is the Nazi group from our reality that went to Antarctica and then they eventually went off world. And they work with the Draco and the negative reptilians and the negative Draco as well. So it's Kruger is the offshoot from the other reality. So we have two Nazi groups in this reality that are, I'm assuming, fighting with each other. Is that essentially what's going on here for control?
Mhm.
Okay. So my question is, maybe you can answer this, Anthony. What happened to Gabriel Kruger in this reality that this organization never really took off? How come? Was he not supported by the Nazi apparatus?
They got out of here. You know what I'm saying? That's what they did is they went somewhere else. You know.
So did somebody kidnap Gabriel Kruger and take him to another reality? From
No,
this
I think
reality?
that they discovered the technology to be able to go somewhere else and then come back. You know.
Yep. That's what he told me.
Die
Same thing.
Glock, the Bell, where they go the time travel tech.
Yeah, and I mean, what is happening right now is that I mean, it's going to be clear when you know things start getting revealed that the Nazi reality. You know.
Okay, so now we also
Really a bad thing.
yeah
Well,
you
yeah.
you also what's that, Adrian?
I said that's totally right. He's actually right about that because that's what he told me when I channeled him on the board a few weeks ago.
It involves advanced technology, you know, and stuff like that, and that's what is happening right now with Trump. And I mean, I have memories right now actually that are coming back with me being in the White Dragon Society, and I actually am putting this together now because the other night, and this goes hand in hand with the global reset and the gold standard. The other night, I had a dream of being in the Forbidden City for the White Dragon Society with Trump, and there was a celebration, you know, because there was the White Dragon Society is who gold has been guarding the gold, you know, and stuff like that, and the gold stand and there. This is all the secret society stuff that's going on behind the politics. And I actually had a memory of the celebration of what they're actually doing behind the scenes with the global reset and the economic, you know, the Jessera and Nessera, and it really is actually happening.
All right. Well, I do want to throw this information out there for the audience members, and of course, timeline isn't set. But I talked to a recent Montauk survivor, and she recalled that when she was at Montauk, the only thing that would give her hope is when she could remote view the future, and she saw the apparatus coming down after the death of George Bush Sr. at the age of 96, which is is 2 years away. So
Yeah.
does anybody have any information about what is Bush Sr.'s connection to all these Nazi groups? Because people have seen him. I mean, obviously he did fund the Nazis. So, but he's probably one of the dark hats from the Dark Fleet. But why would what is Bush Sr.'s involvement? Because he's often seen at Montauk and also during certain Milab bases, like James Casbolt has reported seeing him as well. Does anybody have any information on this guy?
Just what my intuition tells me is because the Bushes, they're at the top of the thing and they are reptilian. You know, he basically his role is you know, he's the behind it all. You know, 9/11 and everything else like that. Like he's obviously at the hierarchy of the cabal. You know, he's obviously one of the top, like up there with Queen Elizabeth and those ones. You know.
So what about, yeah, so okay, reptilian connection. But what about in the other reality where the Nazis won World War II and they were supposedly more benevolent? I hate to use that word. More positive is probably better. So, does that mean the Bush family? Do they actually, George Harriman and all that group? Did they actually fund the Nazis, or was it the whole thing's originated in a different.
It would have been different. It would have been different. It would have been different. They would have had nothing to do with what they had to do with, because the whole timeline would have been shifted and other people would have been in that position rather than them.
Yeah.
That's what my intuition tells me.
Okay. Now, I do want to mention this to audience members before I forget, that Monarch Solutions is another apparatus that's in our timeline that is in control of everything in connection. Here on planet Earth, because Dark Fleet is off-world, Monarch is on this planet. So I'm assuming those two, I believe they work close together. At least Peter has said that. So Monarch Solutions is run by Paul Serene, and they're responsible for kidnapping children, brainwashing and programming them. And there was this base in the former Czech Republic, bases really, that was shut down in March, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And so that's where I guess Kruger was put involved in this. And when I did talk to one of the women that escaped this base, she did mention to me that in that other reality, Hitler personally killed Paul Serene. They took him. They finally got a hold of him and they shot him. I guess he shot him. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how Hitler killed him, but so in this reality, so essentially what happened is that Monarch created a clone of Hitler, sent him back in time to replace Hitler, the original Hitler. So the Hitler that we have in this timeline is actually a clone product of Monarch Solution, because Monarch knew that Hitler, the original Hitler, would have killed him, Paul Serene. And Paul Serene is over 10,000 years old. They have re-aging tech, and so it would have been a huge loss for them anyway, but it'd be a benefit to humanity. So apparently in this timeline, eventually Paul Serene, he does get killed. He gets burnt up, probably from a super soldier, but I'm not quite sure how it's all going to come to an end. But anyway, so I just want to throw this time loop out there. Does anybody want to add anything to this?
No, that totally resonates, James. Everything you just said.
Totally.
Now let's talk about this, Anthony. I'm going to pick your brain a little bit here, because here in the United States, we recently just had the 4th of July holiday, which we celebrate our independence from being a colony from Great Britain. So when the Nazis took over the United States, how in the world did they actually pacify because they split the East Coast was controlled by the Germans, and the West Coast was controlled by the Japanese, or whatever you want to call them, But so the question is, I mean, we got rid of, we had one Revolutionary War, so why? I mean, I guess they didn't want to get rid of the Germans because they helped them out so much. It's almost like we had a Marshall Plan going on in the United States after the war. Can you explain a little bit more about the political situation? Do you have any information about that? What it was like?
Well, I mean, I just, from what I know, about the, basically the Japanese, being the West Coast and the European, the Nazis coming on the East Coast. It just is industrially, like they had the technology, to make everything better. And that's just the bottom line of it. and the technology explains the political situation, because if you have the technology, it's going to make politics even, go better as well. And so in that reality, that the technology that the Nazis were, because their whole quest was about discovering that technology. And if they won, that would be all revealed to the world, and we would be living in that reality, and I mean, that reality would be a lot more efficient and better than this one, which is that one's bleak.
It's like the new world, basically the new world that's coming, the great, the technology that's coming, from a lot of the dream makers and all that.
Right. Well, I do want to mention that according to Peter, after the Nazis invaded here on the East Coast, they funded Tesla with an unlimited budget. And apparently I was working with him in that timeline. But they released the free energy technologies, the anti-gravity, teleportation, the price. This has been a while since, but Peter said something like the minimum wage was the equivalent of making $40 an hour here in the U.S. And you only had to work a couple hours a day because everything was so cheap anyway. Because a BMW, I believe, cost like $5,000 new, and it came with a charged battery of 50,000 miles. So you don't have to, all these costs that we currently pay is just to gouge us and enslave us. And again, it goes back to these negative Draco reptilians. And I'm not going to say it's just them, because there are negative plates, there are negative humans. Actually, it seems like right now they're more negative humans than these other groups, because it's humans that are doing this to each other. But okay, so anybody else want to throw anything out there on that, or should we move on?
I just want to, okay, go ahead, Adrian.
Oh, I was just going to ask, what's your thoughts on why are the aliens so interested in gold? I mean, the reptilians, like the head reptilians. Like, what's the connection between that and the gold?
Because obviously the gold is where the power is, for the financial situation and with resource control, and if you're looking at things at a strategic point, which they are, that securing that would be very important. So,
Well, I want to mention something on that. That's a good, interesting topic you brought up. Now, I've listened to different people that have contacts with the Dragon family, just interviews, and I'm just going to regurgitate what they've said or summarize. But it appears that there are some of the gold on is just like has DNA, a specific type of DNA. It appears gold also has its own type of DNA. And of course, it's not going to be biological, but
That's what I was thinking.
And some of this gold is extremely high vibrational. It comes from other dimensions and it was brought down. Perhaps it was from Saint Germain, or maybe it was the Templar gold, or even Solomon's gold, or some other type of gold we're not even aware of. So if this gold was to get put into the civilian sector, it would raise the vibration of the people so much to the point it would bring us into the gold consciousness, which is it brings about abundance and prosperity, because gold itself, the molecules are actually little pyramids and not crystal, but pyramid shaped molecules, and that creates it's a powerful chi energizer, and that's why it's connected to the God consciousness. So I think there's a spiritual reason why they do not release this out there just yet.
That makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Now that they do have materializers where they can like materialize gold out of thin air. So I don't really think the reptilians necessarily value our gold in that regards, but I think they're looking for that specific type of gold. Yeah. Okay. All right. Anybody else?
I just wanted to bring up a point though that I think is very important, just off the top of my head, because I was talking to Peter, and a very important point is to bring up the show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Because right there, that show is the truth, and pretty much Hydra is the Nazis in Monarch, and the S.H.I.E.L.D.
is Montauk. That's what they did to us at Montauk.
Right, and I mean that whole show explains the Inhumans are people with ability. It's all explained up in that show. And Peter was even like, I don't even think people are ready for that. And they even show people with telepathy, telekinesis. They show runners on there. And literally S.H.I.E.L.D. is Kruger and the Alliance. And Hydra is Nazi and Monarch. And that's what's actually going on. And I actually have memories of seeing the carriers, of going in on the carriers and seeing the helicarriers. I actually remember that. So
right. And Peter has talked about those helicarriers. Apparently there were some off the coast of Jacksonville right before the hurricane that came in last last summer. So we did talk a little bit about that. So yeah. All right. Well, I guess we can go ahead and move on here, if that's okay, Anthony.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Okay. All right. Of course, audience members, if you have any other questions about Kruger or these realities, just go ahead and put it out there. I mean, we can go on and on about it, but okay. So the next thing on the agenda was this information, Adrian, that you channeled from Heather. Now, Heather Anderson was originally in contact with Ben Murphy, who released this report on Project Camelot's website about this underground base just northeast of Orlando. It's in the city of Orlando, underground. And they were taking dead soldiers, reanimating their bodies, and turning them into super soldiers. So at one point, the word was given that they found a new method where they would actually create some, I guess it was titanium bones, but then I heard it was PRI, which is a metal that comes from the rings of Saturn. It's stronger than diamonds, but it's similar to gold. And they would make these bones made of this material, and they would clone human flesh over these bones. So that automatically made all these reanimated dead soldiers coming out of Iraq and Afghanistan obsolete. So
I just wanted to mention something about that, James.
Go ahead.
It's interesting you'd bring up these animated soldiers that came out from the dead. I'm thinking that has a lot to do with the Umbrella project, where they're actually animating not just zombies, but also they're saying they're starting to see actually live skeletons that are actually here in Salt Lake that are actually saying they're actually real, and people have actually seen them. People that have come alive, and they're basically in skeleton form. You know, like Crow. You know.
Shit. I believe that stuff because I've actually seen some things with my own eyes in the sky, and it literally looked like I mean, I'm just trying to say, with seeing things that are unbelievable, like I saw something in the sky that was literally, it was like a head with horns and a cape, and it was just floating there, and some people actually looked at it, but they looked away and they didn't care. But I was like, dude, that is not supposed to be there. So there's stuff going on, definitely.
Wow. Yeah, that's huge.
All right. So, okay. I just want to mention. So, we were talking about Heather. Okay. So Heather, apparently, she used to work for the Dark Fleet, and she would. Her role was to I guess get this technology, but Darkfleet works with Monarch, and of course Monarch works with Umbrella, so that would make a lot of sense that they would be working reanimating the dead. But so she didn't want to do that. So they ultimately killed all these soldiers, and they kicked her out of the organization, and they took their dead bodies and stripped the omega-3 from these dead soldiers and sold it as a pharmaceutical grade omega-3 under Merck Pharmaceuticals. So Merck was highly connected with these projects as well. So moving on here, after they pushed her out, apparently they killed her, is what was claimed by Ben Murphy. But evidently she was not killed, or maybe they reanimated her. I'm really not quite sure. But now she's now in a Texas dump. She works for something known as INC Security Systems, working for Project Cyanide X, and of course X stands for 10, the Roman numeral 10. And cyanide it has to do with CyberLife. We talked about this with Peter. Apparently, CyberLife is a real organization. If you've seen the video game Detroit Become Human, CyberLife Corporation, it creates androids which are purchasing homes in Detroit over the past 20, 30 years or so. 20 years. Roughly, I guess it would be about 91, so it'd be about almost 30 years. But they 30% of the population is now made up of these androids of Detroit. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because the brain is a highly advanced AI system, but it's not they're trying to simulate human consciousness, and they're not successful, and they're probably not going to be. So like I said, they went through 10 versions of this project, and this is probably going to be the last one. So so that's a little background information on that. So she used to work for the Dark Fleet, but now she's working for INC, and she wants to actually help super soldiers, and she's invited us apparently to come down to the base, but evidently they would erase all of our civilian memories. Now, Anthony, you thought that you are okay. I mean, would you be okay with that if they erased all your civilian memories and you got all your abilities back? I mean, what do you
that's
think?
a choice that you have to make, honestly. I've thought about that. I've thought about that, and it's a choice that you have to make. But it's not the only choice, though. You can still regain your abilities and regain your memories and retain your memories.
Mm-hmm.
Well, apparently Heather has claimed that she's now developed a process that might be able to help us get her memories back. But the key is that during Milabs, we all have certain altars that are used for different clones or whatever they shapeshift us into. So like one of my altars was by the name of Agent Sabretooth. Now he's not actually a saber-toothed cat, but evidently they could do that. They can also shapeshift you into water, and if they do that, then they make a huge mess, and it'd be really hard to get you back together. But so what they're doing is they're making new different types of altars. So Adrian, you said some of them. Apparently, I have like 2,000 altars, but some of them are other than Sabretooth is TikTok, Venom, who is shapeshifts into a reptilian that can spit poison like a dragon. Is that? Can you be a little bit more descriptive of that one?
Well, Venom, from what I discovered, is if you look at the video game Mortal Kombat, there is a creature on there that's almost very similar to Venom, but then they kind of went a little step further on the project that they used, called Project Spider-Man. And they came up with another reptilian that is very similar to the Draco DNA. So they kind of mixed a lot of different types of hybrid along with that. And they kind of, when you were in the Mortal Kombat project, which Peter has talked about, we kind of battled it out, our altars, which kind of makes sense because Heather was talking about that. But they kind of went a little step further in that, and they were putting a lot of the reptilian DNA along with the Draco, and they were using alligators, basically.
Probably more specifically crocodile.
Yeah, crocodile. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So what about this altar? Okay, so another altar was called Tekken. He was a samurai that can run fast up walls, and he had an oriental look to him. You have any information about that? Any more?
What I'm getting from that is that they were looking for super soldiers having to do with the samurai, and somehow she was able to mix one of your altars with the samurai from like places like Japan, China, and they were looking at some of the skills and abilities that you had, and they replaced you with some of these different types of altars. And as they were looking more into the altars, they started discovering more about identities. And we all kind of have the different forms of identities along with the altar. And the altar kind of gives the identity more power. And we all have several forms of identities, and we all have several forms of altars. And so she was kind of looking at what would be the best skills as far as more human-like than actually reptilian, because she found a lot of reptilian in your DNA.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that when we get to the base part, which is a very fascinating story. But specifically, why did she make a reptilian super soldier? I mean, it's clearly they can't be embedded into the Army of the Marines or Navy SEALs. So what are they using these reptilian beasts?
What do you think for?
To work with reptilians on their missions?
Yeah, man.
Basically, yeah.
Okay. Do you have any information about TikTok?
Well, we know there was different projects that they put us in, and then one of the projects that they had you in, I imagine probably in England, was called the Wizard of Oz project. And so they came up with another basically identity. Now, like you said, some of these reptilians or alters cannot be shown in the public eye, in which they probably already have. But that's why they created identities, and that's why they make it a little bit more more invisible to the public eye. So TikTok was like one of those cyborg. It's like a mixture between cyborg and drone, more of an AI alter, basically, what they created in England. And she was telling me that the reason why she created that, because that was the best approach, along with the Wizard of Oz project that you were part of, which is part of Project Montauk.
Okay. So I want to ask Anthony, would you like to talk to Heather some more? Do you have any questions for Heather?
I do. I would like to actually get into contact with her.
All right.
Definitely.
Well, Adrian, do you think you can bring her out through your channeling or your board or whatever you do?
Okay.
Cell phone, your brain cell phone.
She says, "Hello, James. Welcome. It's been a while."
Welcome. Thank you, Catalina. Or would you prefer Heather?
Oh, I like Catalina, but I go by Heather if you don't mind.
Okay. So Heather, we have Anthony with us today, and Anthony would like some assistance as well. Is that something that you might be able to help him with?
I always welcome new guests. I've heard you speak of Anthony before, and from what you were saying, that he would love to come to my base. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I'm going to give Anthony a chance to chime in here. So go ahead, Anthony, and ask your question.
That's really funny that you said that because that's exactly what I was thinking. and that is true, because I do want to go to any bases, and clear out whatever needs to be cleared out there, and seriously liberate anyone that needs to be liberated. And I mean that's just actually really amazing that you just said that, because that's exactly what I was thinking. So I didn't even need to say I didn't even need to say the question.
No, she's very psychic.
Yeah.
Well, Heather, do you have any information about Anthony's altars? Like maybe a name of the altars that he's currently uses, or name, or what you would like to do to him with your experiments?
She said, "Have you ever heard of the name of Jax?"
Yes, I have. That is funny.
In the Mortal Kombat project.
Because he has, that's definitely an altar. That's an altar of mine. Actually, that's an altar of mine that I used on that Monarch mission.
Oh, wow.
Actually, now that I remember that.
She said, "That is awesome." She said, "That is one of your many altars that is very strong, and I would like to use that altar."
Go ahead.
So, Heather, does that mean that Anthony, or perhaps myself or Adrian, do we have to physically come to the base, or will you teleport us out of our homes? Typically, that's what they use in my labs.
She said she would like to physically take us there.
But does that mean that we have to get a plane ticket and travel to Houston, or are she gonna pick us up?
She said she'll send a van.
A van? But a van, I mean, that it will take 20 hours, probably longer for you. Anthony.
Let me say something about this is because when I did talk to Peter, he did say that you would be surprised when you got approached. You would be surprised. That's all I gotta say.
Mm-hmm. And I have been approached.
Don't exclude anything happening. At any time. Especially right now, because right now is seriously, there's a lot of things going on. I mean, really things are really happening.
Yeah.
All right. So when we're down in this facility, how long, Heather, will you need us? I mean, is this something you could just shoot us up with one injection or a couple injections and we'll be on our way home?
She said, I've spoken this before, in which I know that this sounds like a very long-term thing, but I would have to have you there for a year.
Well, what about we have our civilian lives. I mean, surely, Anthony goes missing for a year. What's going to happen?
Well, I would create a clone that would be in your place. You will live a civilian life. But by the time you are done, you will have all your memories. But your real memories, not the implanted ones.
That information makes sense, though, because, I mean, with what super soldiers and stuff, like with the times ahead, I mean, there's going to be so much stuff happening that, it's just going to be unbelievable. Even for us as super soldiers, what's happening, and that's what I know I've been preparing my whole life for, is for this time, and who's to say that I don't get replaced out by a clone while I go somewhere for a year. You know what I'm saying? In physical reality.
They could just time travel us back. Yeah.
Well, anything's possible. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's just.
It's infinite.
Yeah.
Well, can you ask Heather how many altars Anthony has?
2,000.
Yeah.
And how about you, Adrian? How many altars do you have?
1,000.
All right. Can Heather please explain how these altars are made, and is it trauma?
She said that's not counting other planets, other parallel realities.
Yeah, we understand. And how are these altars made?
Regenerated. She said AI created them.
Do they have to put some kind of mental construct where we're tortured in AI, or is it pleasant, or can it be pleasant?
They've created a better way with AI, so it's more pleasant. Makes you feel good like a drug.
That is good to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, typically at Montauk, they would, when they would torture us, they called it uptime, and they would that's when they would traumatize us in VR and so on. Well, actually, I'm sure.
I remember.
Oh, yeah.
I remember some of that stuff.
Can you describe what the experiences you had during uptime?
I don't really know about uptime, but I do know that I do have memories of some serious satanic ritual abuse. Definitely drowning. Just getting just beat, and actual, like sexual things as well. Those memories are returning as I'm getting older in my life, because the soul is the recorder of the memories. And with my spiritual work, I'm looking to retain all my memories. So I'm having memories of like past lives come back, like actually where I'm a Templar in Jerusalem, or actually, you know, and actually we're getting sieged. And I just remember, you know, just the whole siege happening, and I was just scared shitless because I'm like, holy shit, this is the craziest thing I've ever experienced. But anyways, I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, the memories. Yeah, it's like, thanks for the memories. You know, and I think there's a book about that by an MK Ultra as well. But they do, right. They do that to you, and my memories are coming back, and they're not pleasant. You know.
Well, can I mention something about that? About you, James, you were talking about how people were feeling tortured. I'm getting the reason why they do that is because it blocks out anything else but the memories. And so, and what I mean by that is you look at the Native Americans when they go on the cross for their Sundance, you know, they have to go through so much pain in order to retrieve memories and visions. So if you look at it that way in a spiritual sense, that's
there's a reason why they do it. Obviously,
yeah,
it's
exactly
to that power, and you know, obviously, you know, which is unfortunate that they have to do that. But obviously, like you just said, there's a better way now that they're doing, which I know there is, because I have dreams where I'm teaching super soldiers like crystal children. I mean, these children are like literally like crystal children. They have like crystals in their you know, and I mean, obviously these are like the new super soldiers, you know, the light warriors that weren't, you know, subdued by the dark, you know, subjected by the darkness, you know.
Yes.
But that's what's going on in the future, obviously, and now, because I mean, these memories of me, I'm like teaching ninjas, which I know you've told me, Adrian, I am, you know, training ninjas. I mean, I have the memories of being in the schools and teaching, you know, ninjas.
Yeah. Those are the future timelines merging.
Yeah. And I know that I'm actually going to experience that, you know, like I mean, I'm 33 right now. I know that
fast.
Yeah, I know it's coming. So it's definitely getting interesting.
Yes. Yes.
Well,
Absolutely.
yeah, Anthony, do you have any other questions for Heather?
No, I just want to say thank you, Heather, for just completely blowing my mind and opening my heart.
She says, thank you. This has been wonderful. And thank you, James, for allowing me to share. I would love to have all of you at my base. And at the end of your mercy, I would love in return to give you all your memories and the best I can do to help and to save the planet.
Thank you. Did you want to ask her about Haracka, or should we explain the story first, Adrian?
Yeah, go ahead and explain.
Well, the story is going to take about 10 minutes because I've got about like 3 pages of notes here. So
okay.
All right. So everybody, I'm going to do some reading here, and I'll try to make it a little bit more interesting than just reading a couple of pages of paper. But so essentially, what we were doing here was I'm trying to figure out the back how this actually began, because I know you started. Oh, you had this dream, right? Is that how this started, Adrian? You saw this dream. Why don't you explain what you saw?
Did you want me to explain?
Yeah. So you were in my notes, it says here you were in a warehouse, probably a Monarch facility. There were 2 doors on the outside of the warehouse. And then when you went
inside, Nazi facility.
It was a Nazi.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I'm assuming you saw a Nazi flag in there somewhere.
I did.
Yeah. Okay, so when you went inside, you saw cameras on each side of the corner walls. They look like black ops cameras. The bigger white cameras used for commercial buildings, which is not really necessarily a black ops camera, but okay. Then you looked inside the corridor, and it opened up to a large room with exit doors. The room was empty and appeared to be under construction. I guess this whole facility or just this area was under construction.
Correct.
Okay. The area?
Yes.
Okay. There are different levels in the warehouse. In another room, you noticed there were children running around and some were chained up. In each room, there were about 2 kids with bunk beds. It looks like a dormitory. So were these children chained up inside these rooms?
Yes, they were. Some of them were. The ones that did not go by what they wanted when they were bad. Some other kids had other privileges. I imagine they probably had exercises for children, like gym rooms, video game rooms, different rooms that they would use to, in a way, I guess you could say, program the children, because if you think about it, gaming, video games are programming, AI programming. And then when you look at the gym, how we talked about in the past, James, about how you were somehow involved with hockey. We did a video on that a while back, but they're training exercises, basically, and they didn't realize it, but they were looking at it more like, if I listen and I do what they say, then they'll reward me with all these good stuffs, like video games and playing basketball or whatever, hanging out with friends. And that was just a mask that they were putting up as a training exercise, to train these kids as super soldiers or even possibly reptilian connections.
Do you have a name of this base? Were you able to get one?
I have not gotten a name because it was like an unknown name. This was an unknown side facility, probably a side project is usually what I call them if I don't have a name.
Yeah.
I really couldn't say because in my dream, everything was happening so quickly. I couldn't see inside of the building because there was an American flag and there was also a Nazi flag that was in the auditorium. There was actually several, and they were definitely monitoring these children. I imagine even just children that had different skills and abilities, over the world.
Right. Okay, so in my notes, and by the way, we don't really know where this facility was either, so I'm assuming it might be even outside of time, maybe in a time freezing zone or a bubble. I don't know. Okay, on the other side of the building, there were offices for military personnel, black ops soldiers, guns and explosives, as well as advanced technology like flying scooters and certain types of amphibious tanks that can go deep under the ocean. On the wall, there was a recording camera which was connected to an AI and satellite system that was monitoring these children in the base. In the other part of the facility where the children were, there was a pool inside the building. And then you saw a kid with a cyborg hand. There were also classrooms for learning. They had a cafeteria, basketball court. This area was nice. By the cafeteria, you saw a 6-year-old boy on a bench, and he said he wanted to go home. And as he was taken there against his will in a black van away from his family, this boy was sitting on a bench that had a rose design motif and made from pure gold. So what the bench was like, the carvings of the metal looked like roses or something?
Yes. I also wanted to mention that I was talking to Heather a couple of days ago. I didn't mention about this, but she was telling me that some of those cameras that were in there, they kind of looked Egyptian, but they weren't really real cameras. They were actually cameras that was spraying out a gas that would activate some of their pheromones in their brains that would cause them to participate in more of the sex rituals.
Okay, that's pretty freaky. All right, well, that certainly could be the case. Then you saw here's the Egyptian theme, beautiful Egyptian vases and lots of fancy furniture. And I'm assuming this room had the Nazi flag and the American flag as well?
Yeah.
It's like maybe an atrium? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So this
It wasn't like a normal American flag. Like this flag had tons and tons of stars on it. Like not your normal American flag would. You know what I mean?
interesting. Maybe it's from another parallel reality.
Yeah.
Okay. This area was still under construction, so we don't know how beautiful it would have looked. But based on the amount of money they were spending, it certainly looked like whoever was very wealthy. And it appears this young boy was me. And so then you told me or my younger self or that there were cameras everywhere and that you couldn't tell me much. Then he said, then the boy said, or I said, you said to me, I couldn't go with you because it was dangerous. And that at that point you woke up. So we did some remote viewing, and this is what we saw here. Of course, the flags.
I woke up because the camera scared me. Like
okay.
I was afraid they were recording me.
Okay. All right. So in the center of this room, there was a dome with glassed windows. And then on the back of the room, there was a Nazi American flags, which was hanging near two swinging doors with blacked out one-way windows that said, "Do not enter." Once you go into the area that said, "Do not enter," it smelled really bad. After Adrian passed through these doors, a guard asked him for his badge. And then he showed the worker his badge. Okay. Here they were selling kids for trafficking. They were doing sexual abuse. There was one kid behind a door. It looked like a bathroom. He was next to a toilet, had his arms around his feet crying and just wanted to go home. Some of the children were in cages, just tons of lost kids. Everything was very dirty, meaning the floor was dirty or the cages or what? Just the behavior?
Yeah, the cages, the bathrooms were very dirty. Broken glass everywhere.
Yeah, apparently they don't have a cleaning crew down there and they don't put the children to work to do it.
It's just the facility itself was nice, like out in the way they created it. But like when you go more further in the back of the building, that's when it gets like really dirty. Like, and it's more darker. Like it gets darker. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't be surprised if some of them are probably Satanists or, you know, with like how we discovered about the red curtains and the candles, and you know, that's my intuition on it.
Okay. So then we start seeing then we see an entrance. It looks like an emergency exit. At that point you saw guys with guns and a gas mask. And you were greeted by one of them, and he says, "This is where we keep all our weapons. You need to go on the south side." So then you go to the south side, and a helicopter lands on top of the building. Children exit the helicopter and enter the building. They enter into a long hallway and travel past a security room, which has a screen on a wall with security feeds from all over the base. You can see guards on each side of the room's doors holding guns. The building is big and bright, and all the walls are white like a hospital. The kids are then taken down the elevator into the basement. Here the walls are black, which opens up to a different corridor with walls that are bright. They have bright walls everywhere. So they're black and then bright. What
Yeah.
color bright?
Yeah, like a white.
Okay. Every room is locked. Each contains a number on the door. The corridors are maze-like. On each side of the doors, we see strobe lights that are not inside the rooms. So I guess they're outside the door?
Yes.
Above the door? Are they like above the door?
More above the door.
Each door has its symbol on them. Every project has been marked with a symbol and a number to keep track. Do you have any information what these symbols might look like? Can you describe them?
Well, some of them were upside down pentagrams. Some of them were hectograms. Hectograms are a little bit more different than a pentagram, depending on what kind of magic they were using, elemental magic, you know, that they were using in their rituals.
Do you have any ideas why there was a strobe light above these doors?
Strobe lights, as I know, because I'm a hypnotist, I use a lot of strobe lights to cause confusion with a lot of my audience, and so my analysis on that would be because they were trying to cause confusion to get them more in a heightened state of mind, subconsciously, and that puts a lot of people in a trance, and so it's the same thing as someone has a seizure. They're going more in a heightened state of mind, subconscious. It's not because they're having a seizure, it's because they just can't take the frequencies from the flashing in their minds. So it's the same thing, like what the Men in Black use, to wipe your memories. So that was just another way of putting them in a trance.
Okay. So in these rooms with these strobe lights, I guess you said you see children chained up with their feet up to the wall. They look like children they found all over the world. They would separate these children based on their ethnicity into different rooms. There is a pyramid in the middle of the hallway, 14-foot tall pyramid made out of gold, or at least looks like gold on it. On top of it was embedded the Eye of Ra made from glass.
Yes.
Do you have any information on the pyramid? Why that was there? The meaning behind it?
Well, that was kind of interesting. The pyramid, when I saw it, it was a giant golden pyramid with the Eye of Ra at the top of the pyramid, which we know, that represents, the reptilian eye, and they had, it was like the evil eye, is what they call it, and the pyramid was shaped like this in a dome glass. Like there's an outer shell of the pyramid, but it was all made out of gold, and it was like right in the not in the center, but right at the top.
Okay. In one of the rooms we saw what looked like pictures of businessmen in tuxedos hanging on the walls. These were probably businessmen that are part of Dark Fleet. The people looked very German, almost Nazi. They were wearing some kind of metal reward badge. In this same room, we also saw German-styled military desks, but very fancy like you would see in a palace setting. On the door, there are red curtain blinds. In one of the desks, the top drawer had a key lock, and when you opened it, it looked empty with the exception of one compass inside. On the bottom of the desk, there was a metal drawer which contained files and records of different missing children. We also saw cameras in this room watching everything. These cameras look Egyptian. I guess those are the pheromone things you were mentioning. They were designed with Egyptian motifs and hieroglyphics. They are very secretive here. Inside the office, we also see a closet and a bathroom and another door that leads to a bedroom. Here there is a bed and cameras that can be seen around it. Were they the same type of cameras, the Egyptian ones?
Yes.
We also see an antique record player that was used to play German music. On the walls, there are red and black candlesticks that are lit up. We suspect this room was used for murders, sacrifices, black magic rituals. Adrian also heard growling in there and decided to leave that room. Can you describe what the bed looked like? What was it? What color was it? What color bedspread did it have, or was there?
The bed had a red bedspread with Egyptian pillows. Egyptian-like pillows.
Okay, so I guess you can always suspect what's going on there. All right, so moving on. After leaving the office, we enter the corridor and go down the elevator into the basement. Once the elevator door opens up, we see a statue of a knight holding up a sword, possibly a Knight of Templar. There is a woman kneeling down, and it looks like the knight is about to chop her head off. She is holding up her hands, and it looks like she is screaming. What the hell? Why in the world would they have a statue like that? That's so morbid. Adrian?
My guess is that it's a representation of the Dark Knights.
So this is the group within the Knights of Templar, the Dark.
Yes, correct. Yeah, the dark hats.
Anthony, you want to add anything to that? Or would you
Uh,
agree?
I'm good on that. I'm good on that.
Okay. All right. So after passing the statue in the hallway, we see a furnace room. It smelled like a butcher shop with rotting flesh. Here we see what looks like a crematorium. And then, it took us a while before we figured it out because it was dark. It was pitch black when you were exploring this, and we just thought it was just a furnace to heat up the facility. But then we realized it was a crematorium. I was like, oh my God, this is pretty disgusting. Because one of the furnaces were burning.
That's what they were doing in Montauk. They were burning a lot of the people.
The children that were not compliant or they considered rejects.
Yeah.
The room is very dark, so it's hard to see what the furnaces were used for. So we also see night vision security cameras that can see in the dark, but we also see strobe lights. This room was probably used for torture. If any of the kids were bad, they would be sent here. From the furnace room, we see tunnels, which lead into an area which contain prison cells with locked up reptilians. Some of these reptilians have escaped from the cells and are freely roaming the tunnels. Some of the dead children were being fed to these reptilians because they are not given anything else to eat. Some of these reptilians were locked up for killing one of the Nazi Dark Fleet soldiers, and some were locked up because something went wrong in their genetics. So apparently these reptilians were actually children that were converted into reptilians is what we are gathering, by the way. Just want to mention that also. Okay, so we approached one of the more friendly reptilians that we could find down there to learn more about their condition. He had gray scales and looked very creepy. His face was deformed and he had a demonic appearance to him. He had horns, gargoyle-like 2 feet, 3 toes on each foot. He had a black sheet wrapped around him. He was speaking in a different language like Draco. I guess like a Draco. What does a Draco language sound like, Adrian?
Well, they speak in, I don't know, like, I guess, has anybody ever seen the movie Enemy Mines? That's a good way to describe it, how a Draco would speak. They would speak like in another alien language or an alien form language. Some of them speak in symbols.
What does it sound like? Because I know like some reptilians, they use a lot of S's, like that.
Yeah, like Gasamba. That's Gasamba. Like welcome to my planet. Different types of Draco and Draco languages are all kind of different to different alliances, and that's how they speak. Like the way we speak, we would speak in like in secrecy, like Morse code, but we would speak in codes, and they would speak by symbolism, and they would speak by a certain word. It might not even be a word that they speak. It might just be a code that they're actually talking and communicating with each other in secrecy,
Okay. So the Draco asks, why are you here? And then you said, we are here to help and we want to help the children. He says, you are way off. You need to get out of here and go to level 5. You are way too far down into the south level base. This is where they feed us. We eat the flesh off your skin. If you do not move out of here, it is not safe. I'm one of the nice reptilians, is the word he used, you are speaking to. And then he said, we have heard of you, James Rink. I have been waiting for you to come. You are a new subject that has been here before. Your memories have been blocked. The Dark Fleet is on the move, but the Nazis are just hiding out at this time. But there is a great war coming. Now is the time to get your memories and gifts back. I am growing old and dying. I will help you as much as I can, but don't let the other reptilians know you are here. They will kill you in an instant. I will help you find a death ray gun for protection. You will know when to use it. Others have chosen the Dark Fleet to rule over planet Earth. I myself have gone rogue. I still believe in peace among humans. You carry a certain type of Draco reptilian genetic DNA in you, and then I guess he was also referring to you, Adrian, because apparently you had more than I did. It's very rare. I never smelled anything like it before. I can sense it a mile away just by smelling you. I still have my senses even though I'm an old Draco. I don't know how long I've been in my current body. We only live accordingly to how we are created. We don't have a time limit like humans do, but we die accordingly how we were created. I have children and grandchildren on other planets. I am not well, but I can help you as much as I can. You are very lucky. Normally, I do not like humans, and humans do not like me, but I have chosen a different path. I did not go rogue. My family was forced into servitude. The Dark Fleet is building their army. We do not have much time. My name is Haracka. Before they imprisoned me, I was one of the heads of the Dark Fleet family, one of their generals. And I made decisions based off their missions, and I had to deliver the message. It was not easy for me because of my children were at risk of punishment on these other planets. They are all turning these children in this base into reptilians. Well, actually, most of them were being returned into reptilians. Some were being turned into super soldiers, which is what they were doing to me. But okay, building their army for Dark Fleet. Some will also be used as here it goes. Super soldiers and cyborgs, and the rest will be used for genetic experimentation with my kind and your kind. They used me to smell their DNA so that I know they have reptilian genetics. So I guess these children they bring in. But since I am dying, they can't use me anymore. It's either do or die. They throw you away to even your own family to be eaten, and they will kill your own children if you do not comply. Your DNA is very rare, and you do have DNA of a super soldier, and you have the DNA of a Draco. You have more super soldier DNA than Draco. They have built your clone here, but they are trying to turn you Draco, but since you have a higher percentage of super soldier DNA, they cannot do it. I'm not sure how in the world do you figure super soldier is DNA? I mean, I thought super soldier had to do with AI and femtotech. Adrian, do you have any information on that?
Well, they're starting to see a lot of the femto and a lot of those technologies in the DNA. So they're starting to actually use DNA as super soldier. I don't know how they're doing it with the technologies, but they have it now.
Who knows? Maybe the DNA is AI. I mean, they might be so advanced because femtotech actually modifies the quarks within the atoms, the molecules of the DNA, whereas nanotech actually modifies the codons. So when you modify the quarks, then you can go to the interdimensional aspects of the DNA.
I'm thinking the same way because of the strands, and the stargates.
All right, so here we go. I've been trying to reach out to Adrian as he is a most sensitive psychic one and allow him to see the experimentation so that he can lead you to the door of your ability. I've been watching and helping you this whole time. We work together on many missions. I'm assuming he means me or you, Adrian?
He's assuming you.
Okay. We were in something known as Project Starcraft, which was an interesting project. We travel all around the universe from planet to planet, understanding different types of alien languages and different worlds and how we would coexist with each other, which is curious because when I was in Montauk, the other kids would call me Alien Boy because when I first got there, I started speaking in an alien language and it freaked everybody out. And apparently it was Andromedan, and I was calling on my Andromedan star family to rescue us. And anyway, I'll have to save that for another time. We also confiscated the weapons of these alien beings and have trained their use for super soldier for what is about to come. But since we failed our mission on every mission, the Dark Fleet has confiscated many reptilian bases and destroyed our planets. We were the guardians of this universe and the protectors. We gargoyles made an agreement to watch over and protect. I now suggest you get out of here and go find your clone to find your memories of what they did to you. As I watched over you as one of your guardians when you were a child, you were a navigator. So apparently I was on the ship working with Haracka. I was the navigator, and he was my protector. and I was 6 years old. He says, "You do not remember it, and that is why I brought you here to remember it. All your memories are stored here at this base. Some of the memories will be very painful because of the torture that was implanted by my people, reptilians and Draco."
I also wanted to mention, James,
Right.
Heather told me when I channeled her 3 days ago, she said that you were also what they called a game master.
What's that?
That you were called a game master.
Game?
Yeah, a game master.
So what I do, like control it during a virtual reality setting?
Yeah, you were really good at virtual reality, and they
Yeah.
called you the game master. And that's what they called you. A lot of the kids, that's what they would call you when you would play games at the base.
Hmm.
I think that was part of your training exercises.
Okay. All right. So I don't remember. Okay. So now this guy Haracka says that he doesn't remember much of his childhood. He said he was born human and genetically modified from a human into a Draco at the age of 5 years old. He said he was created in a Milab. My human name is Adam Kessler, or was. My human name was, okay. If you could restore me, please, if you could restore me, take me back to who I was. I was one of the first that were transformed into a reptilian. This is not how I wanted to live my life. But I ran away from home because my adopted mom and dad used to fight all the time. My father was an alcoholic who used to abuse my mother, and I had no place to go, and they transported me here. I was a homeless street kid. So that was his adopted mother and father, I guess. Wait, I ran away because my adopted mom and dad. So I was a little confused about this. So, what was he like abandoned initially, put into an orphanage? And so this new adopted mother and father they picked him up, and then they were horrible too. So then he ran away. Okay, so I never had the opportunity to live a normal life. When I was younger, World War II was going on. They were dropping chemical bombs which could change people into strange creatures. I remember screaming and crying with my mom holding me. Then the Nazis grabbed me, threw me in the car, and took me into the base. The Nazi was speaking German, that I must go with him. I must go with him. I said, "No, no, mama, mama." Father heard me, but he was too far gone with his alcohol. I think Father was somehow tied into this. He was a businessman. He never told us what he did on his trips, but we all know he got his money from somewhere and used to hide it. I think the Nazis used to pay him. There was a lot of child trafficking going on at this time, but now, unfortunately, it has gotten even worse and way out of hand. Darkfleet is very aware of super soldier talk. They are not happy about the light of truth. They will do everything in their power to stop the truth of us reptilians, especially the experimentations to genetically modify human into reptilian DNA. I could never live a normal life unless I was regenerated back into a human. One thing is for sure, I will forgive but never forget. I wish to see my mother because of how beautiful she was. Mother is probably dead. They killed a lot of my family, and they said my father was somehow involved in this horrible nightmare. A lot of other reptilians won't help me because I went rogue. And I guess that's why they stuck him in this prison area. Then he says, "I want you to go down to level." Actually, Adrian, do you want to comment about anything else? Add anything to this?
About as far as going into the basement.
Yeah, anything else you want to add?
All I remember is that the elevator was not like a normal elevator. It was very fast and very quick. And it was like a tunnel. And when you went down into the elevator, everything was pretty much black at the almost to the bottom, of the pit. You know what I mean? They called it the pit. That's what Heather told me when I channeled her 3 days ago. That's kind of wanted to add a little bit here and there what she told me.
Okay, so everybody bear with me. We're getting through this slowly here, but okay, Dark Fleet. Oh, so we won't go into that. Okay, I want you to go to level 5 and check out that part of the facility where the children are. There are going to be 3 exit doors you will go through. There are alarms everywhere, and they are sensitive. They have voice recognition and cameras in the area. I will try to censor the alarms and cameras and shut them down. It's like they know everything that is going on with Dark Fleet. Even here in these tunnels, it's not safe. This place is where we torture children and eat their flesh off their skin. There are many corridors you do not want to go into. It becomes very dark and evil and is very sinister. I want out of here and to go back to my children. I will find who is responsible and rip their head off, but I don't have the strength. I don't have the strength to move like I used to. I don't have long to live either, so we need to speed things up if I want to live longer. I was forced to eat children's flesh. It's the only thing we can do to survive. In their rituals, we live off their loosh energy because children produce more loosh in life force. Is that, I guess, the adrenochrome when they torture? I don't like it. I don't accept it, and I don't agree because I was once human and now I will die as a Draco. Please be careful. Go with God. Please find someone to help me. I feel your pain, and I know you are searching as much as I did to find your memories and the truth so that you can help guard and protect it. So we then, at that point, we thank Haracka, and we go to the elevator to level 5. And there, Adrian, you see a soldier carrying something that looks like a bucket. We see cameras in the hallway. These cameras look white, and they don't look Black Ops. These cameras look white, and they don't look Black Ops. Was that the Egyptian ones?
Yeah.
Okay. We go past the door in the hallway, and it looks like a hospital. This is where I was before my dream. I remember seeing a table and a bench where that boy was, again, supposedly me. The bench had a rose flower design, real gold on the rails. It's fancy inside. Last time you were there, it was under construction, but now they fixed everything up so fast. Next to this room, we see a door leading to a gymnasium. It's round, and they are having their meetings. I hear lots of people inside. They got lights on, and they're having a party in there. I hear music, 80s or 90s disco music. There are tons of people from Dark Fleet in there, 80s or 90s. I don't think they had 90s disco music. Maybe techno. You want to be more specific?
I think it was more trance or techno.
There are tons of people from Dark Fleet in there. They're having a meeting. There are waiters giving people glasses of blood. Were they like wine glasses?
Yes.
Were they shot glasses or wine glasses? I guess
they were more like wine glasses.
Okay, so people were drinking this blood, and they were tipping these waiters with money. Oh, okay. Then you see a man dressed in a cape, and he's talking on the microphone. I mean, this is so bizarre. They can make a movie out of this. He almost looks like Hitler. He's dressed like him, but it's not Hitler. Maybe a captain in Dark Fleet. I see flags in the gymnasium. Of course, we got the Nazi American flags, but they are separate. I also see Chinese and Japanese flags on the walls. And I find that curious because the Nazis typically are very racist, so I don't see why they would – I mean, if they brought the Chinese and Japanese there, they would not really intermingle with them. It's like the Chinese and Japanese would have to stay with their own groups, but they were not really allowed to really intermingle. That's the way I would visualize it if that was the case. Of course, we know the Japanese were working with the Nazis, but the Nazis always looked down poorly on them anyway. I think that I'm sure the Japanese people they probably knew that they were kind of looked down on. But anyway, what was that? Did you hear that?
That's my reserve power.
Okay.
I'm on a reserve power now.
Okay. Well, a few more paragraphs. There is now a woman talking in German. She is wearing all gray, and she has her hands up like how she's, I guess, the Nazi saluting Hitler. They're all wearing pins and buttons of the Nazi party. So you imagine little lapel pins. Many of the men are balding. They look like Hitler's men, or maybe the old guard from that time. This is a very old memory. This place is isolated. It's a hologram. They're playing something back in time to show us what happened when Darkfleet took over the bases. This room is a hologram room playing old scripts from video recordings. So I do want to mention they were laughing about how they took everything over. I didn't write that down. I don't. Did I mention that? But that's what I remember. You said that they were all joking, like how we took everything over.
Yeah, that was in the auditorium.
Yeah. So then we go into another room, a corridor, and then you see me and I guess another one of these dormitories. Was it a dormitory, Adrian?
Yes.
Okay. Painted on the room, it said James Rink's room on the door. I'm sorry. But there was another kid in there named Kyle. Are you sure it just said James Rink?
Yeah, it said James Rink on it.
Then
Kyle was mainly just your roommate.
But why didn't they put Kyle on the door too?
That wasn't his room. They just put him in there with you.
You see a much younger James Rink painting and humming. He looks 5 or 6 years old. You think you are home, but you're not at home. They made a replica of my room to suppress the memory. I see a bunk bed. There's another boy on top of the bunk bed. His name is Kyle. And I was painting.
My impression is they didn't want to isolate you for some reason.
You mean keep me by myself?
Yeah.
Or even, I mean, a lot of the boys were just put into one group where there was multiple kids in the same room.
Yeah, they were trying to make you feel comfortable.
Well, that's really curious. They were trying to give me special treatment because that just shows you usually they don't do that unless it's somebody they really want to get their hands on.
That's true.
They said, "Who are you?" And I said, "I wanted to paint with you." And you said, and they said, "Oh, wait. Oh, I guess I said, okay." So I said, "Who are you?" And then you said, "I wanted to paint with you." And then I said, "You like the color red? You like bright colors?" And then I'm painting a sailboat with a stormy sky on white paper. It looks like it's raining in the room, but it's not raining outside. It's sunny. The rest is a simulation. Not sure what you mean by that, Adrian. What do you mean by it's raining inside the room?
It was a holographic insert.
Huh.
Some of the rooms were holodecks. Like half of the facility was holodecks. You can't really tell because the technology was so advanced in that base,
Huh. Okay. There are cameras in the rooms. Was it one of these Egyptian cameras?
Yes.
Sensors in the walls, but they are deactivated. They're watching me the whole time. I told them we need to get out of here and we need to go home. And I said, "We are home." Then you said, I got a time machine I want to show you, but you must come quick because it's about to leave." And then I said, I want to see it. And then Kyle says, I guess my younger brother, I don't know if he's older or younger, but Kyle says, "You can't leave here. I want to stay. They got tracking devices on our ankles." Kyle was taken from his family and put into Project Surrogate 2, and he's probably my biological brother. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. And Adrian
They
said,
also have another. Heather said they had another kid there too. His name was Adam.
"Oh, what's the relation with that, with this story?"
No relation, but she wanted to mention that he was there as well, and I think he was your younger brother.
Was Adam in the same room?
No, he was in a different facility.
Oh, so I had 3 brothers there. I mean,
Yeah.
two brothers. So.
But Kyle wasn't your biological brother like Adam was.
Oh, okay. All right. And then you say to me, "I'm telling you to be very quiet." Then you cover my face so they can't see him. They cover him with a bag. Then I say, this isn't fun anymore. And then you say, there are bad people to get us. I'm going to take you home. And I said, I thought I was home. Then you said, they use magic to make you think you are home. Your future self is trying to help you. I guess the future self that referring to me. Then you said, and then I said, I want to get out of here so you can take me. Oh, I want to get out of here so you can take me to my real home. Then we go out the back door, up the stairs to the top of the roof, where you threw a ball in the air, Adrian, and it rolled near a helicopter, or into a helicopter, and a chronosphere popped out.
Yes.
So a chronosphere popped out of this ball.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So we get inside and take off. Then we go to a Palladian ship where one of the Palladians said they would take over from here. They thanked Adrian and gave him a medal, which was put over his neck for rescuing me. Can you draw out that medal, what it looked like?
Yeah, I could probably draw it out.
Okay. Then they put me in a bedroom on one of the ships. It had a glowing fish lamp that would help me go to sleep. They had a gaming arcade system, and they allowed me to play any game I wanted. There was a basketball and soccer ball in there. There were 2 closet doors that could open up electronically. There was socks, shoes, underwear, all rolled up nicely on the shelf. And there was also a paint set in there. And that is how I left my clone where he is today. Is that my clone or my younger self? I'm not sure what we were getting.
That was your younger self.
Maybe pull me outside of time. However, my brother Kyle didn't fare so well. He was punished and his privileges were taken away. They took him down to the furnace room in the cellar, and as a punishment, they starved him, and they didn't allow him to participate in other activities with the kids. He was also forced to watch the reptilians eat other kids. Now that the Palladians have this younger version of me, they are making a plan to shut down the operation and rescue the kids. To be continued. So finally, we can get to the questions. That was a little bit longer than 10 minutes, but was it worth it?
Yeah, no, definitely. That was really worth it.
Okay, hopefully, audience members, I didn't bore you with that story.
You could write a movie, James.
And if I did bore you, you're probably listening to the wrong show. I don't know what you would be interested in if you don't think that's interesting. But so again, this was all channeled information from Adrian. So I guess now I wanted to ask some questions about. Okay, so we did remote view to. I just want to briefly mention that we called upon Adrian, or we did a session where Adrian channeled his future self from 2021, in which he claims that the Nazis took over, and once they took over, one of the first things they did is pick me up and brought me to this base and re-aged me to a child. Is that what you were saying? So essentially, this is me in the future, which is kind of hard to understand.
Yes.
But do you have can you explain about anything else that you recall from your future self version? What he said?
My future self version had all my memories from Heather, because we talked about going to the base. And I was rich, of course, and I remembered you, and all I remember is seeing the Nazis capturing you, and I came in and rescued you, and I imagine it was probably probably Earth that we were still on, but the new world hasn't taken place yet. So the old world, the Nazis took over the timeline. I'm not quite sure yet from Heather if they were the good Nazis or if they were the bad Nazis, because some of the good have re-recruited with Gabriel Kruger, and like Anthony just mentioned, about how they discovered new technology, so they went in different areas of in hideout and secrecy. So that's kind of where I'm kind of speculating if it was the good or the bad, but I remember rescuing you from that.
All right, Adrian. So, um, I'm kind of getting a little fatigued here. Of course, I know we almost be going at this for 2 hours. There's like a few more questions. So we wanted to explore what happened to Kyle, what happened to Haracka, and what happened to the base after I left. So how should we go about doing this? Should we try to reconnect with your future self again? Would that be the best way, or did you want to ask Heather?
We can ask Heather.
Okay.
Heather's present. She says, hello, James Rink again.
Hello.
How can I help you?
Are you were you listening in to any of this story with this Nazi Milab base?
She said, yes, I'm very aware of it. Adrian has spoke to me 3 days ago about it. And this
Okay.
is all very, very interesting part of yours and Adrian's memories. These are, unfortunately, these are the painful ones.
So my first question is, did this actually take place in the future? Like it hasn't taken place yet, or has this taken place back in time in my past?
This is something that has not taken place yet. And I'm hoping something that I can do to prevent from happening. Unfortunately, these are some things that have happened in other alternate realities and timelines that I'm trying to prevent from happening. And we also know that other agencies, such as someone like Peter, is preventing the bad Nazis from taking over the earth. We know that. And I'm creating super soldiers to prevent as well. They found a great interest in you because of your abilities having to do with becoming what they called you a game master, which I have spoken to Adrian about this before, because you have great skills, you have great abilities, and wonderful gifts that they are very interested in.
All right. And so what would have happened if they allowed me to, if I remained in that Nazi base? What were they grooming me to do? What was their goal?
You would join Dark Fleet and you will do their projects, and many very bad things would happen. And if they were to take you or any great super soldier into their power, it would be very difficult to fix, especially someone like Peter.
Yeah, because we're also picking up they erased Peter's memories. The MIB erased his memories, and he was now living a civilian in 2021.
That's correct.
Now I've talked to Jessica, and she said that this is all other parallel realities, and it's probably not going to happen in this timeline. How would you respond to that, Heather?
I would respond that she is correct.
So does that
Other
ahead.
people have seen these timelines that you're talking about, and we're hoping that's something we can do to prevent from happening.
Does that mean that Nazis are going to invade in 2021?
She said, I can't comment, but I'm hoping that is not the case.
I do want to mention Peter has said in 2022, 5D Earth comes. So, and also Trump releases all the free energy technologies beginning in his second term. So, 2020, we'll start seeing a lot of things change. So,
That's correct.
Okay. Hopefully, Nazis won't be one of them, or at least the negative groups. Okay. All right. So, Heather, do you have any information about Kyle?
Kyle is part of their masking project, do you know what masking means?
No. What is that?
Okay. He is a spy for them, but at the same time, they are doing a exercise spying on him in a virtual simulation video game.
So what happened to him after, I guess you could say he failed his mission of spying on me? I walked away, leaving him in the room. Was he shocked that I would do that?
Yes, because you broke their plans. They wanted to keep a close tab on you. And unfortunately, you can thank Adrian for saving you in this timeline. And it was a very dangerous, but we knew that you would succeed because of both of your abilities. And you have been on many missions together, as I recall what Adrian has told me so far. This is all very interesting, I think.
Many missions with who?
With Adrian.
Oh, okay. All right. Any other information about Kyle?
Well, Kyle was in an orphanage, didn't know who his real family was. He was a very good spy in a lot of different types of projects that they used him in. If he failed a project in the spy project, then they would put him what they call in the masking project, which they would facilitate him and spy on him, and he would act as a civilian in the virtual world.
So what about like supposedly when the Nazis took over in 2021 and they kidnapped me to this base and they re-aged me? What about Kyle? Where is he now in 2018? Is he a child or is he an adult, or how's that work?
She said he will be an adult
Do
if
you
he
know
survives.
Okay, so he's an adult right now?
He's a child right now. After you left him, they re-aged him. As you grow, he will re-age until they are ready to let him grow. They keep him in the projects. But in a virtual world project, almost close to very similar to being a game master, they called you this because you were able to break the game and figure out their strategies, which is why you were very important to them as a resource to their game.
All right. Okay,
So you were
so
more like a secret weapon is what I'm getting.
okay. What about Adam? Is there anything you want to bring out information on Adam?
Adam was a biological brother to you in your civilian life, separated by you not knowing who he is or what he is or who he came from. As a link to Kyle was only a mask, and a mask that was a surveillance that was trying to spy on you to keep you sedated and monitored in your projects for the Dark Fleet. And as far as before Gabriel Kruger's time, it was all part of Dark Fleet's plan in the Nazi Party.
All right. So whatever happened to Haracka?
Haracka is now dead. They have burned him in the fire. He gave out too many secrets. They had him recorded, and now he has been exposed. And now he joins the Federation in great joy and celebration in a new body form.
Okay. Well, that's kind of sad that he never got what he really wanted. But I guess that's you can only.
Yes, very sad, she said.
Well,
Timeline, or his timeline, excuse me.
so what happened to the base after I left? What did the officers say or do after when they realized I was gone?
They were very upset, and they sent what they call stormtroopers to look for you, bounty hunters, with no trace of where you went and what timeline that you are in, and yet they continue to search. And whoever was responsible. But unfortunately, they can't find you.
Well, couldn't they just watch Super Soldier talk? No, we just talked about it.
You are older now, so this makes it harder for them to trace. But they're starting to remember bits and little by pieces. You have Peter as well that is helping you to protect you from the Nazis. I hope that you trust his safety as a father figure and a teacher.
Okay, but I mean, the information has been published here on YouTube before it happened, so theoretically they could just watch the video and find out where I went, and they would know you're coming.
Yes, that's correct, but they are not very interested in social media, which they are not ready to make their move. But at this point, I would say that they think that we are playing their game.
I also like to mention just us talking about the future can change it. So chances are probably none of this is going to happen, at least under these circumstances. But at least I like to hope no, it doesn't happen like this. But then again, Haracka, it sounds like so that was from our present era. He died, and then we must have fast forward into the future to when I was in level 5. So we would have had to go through time as well. We were traveling to the base.
Yes, that's correct.
Which I guess you were doing that anyway, because in the auditorium, you were looking at videos in the past and so on. Okay, so I guess where is my younger self now in this timeline?
I just wanted to mention the auditorium was a holodeck room.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm sorry, she said, what was the question?
Where is my younger self now? You said he was on a Palladian ship. So what happened after that?
The Palladians have rescued you and have healed you, and now you are in training other super soldiers to prepare themselves to go in so that they could find Kyle and find Haracka, but unfortunately Haracka is not in the picture. He is now with the Federation, and the message has been sent to the Palladians that he has now been sedated and regenerated, and we are now in the process of sending our ships at war. At this time, you are in training with them as well.
Okay. All right. Do you want to ask Haracka if he has any other information he would like to share?
Yes, I also wanted to mention we have sent out a message to different alliances. Some wish to not partake in this matter, so we must build our army to have a backing so others can go in as well. Most other races think that situations like this can be very dangerous or unethical. Others think it's kind of dumb, not a good idea. Let bygones be bygones. Others are more interested in their planet, life, and life force. But at this point, we are still looking for others and super soldiers to join us in this battle to save the Earth. Others are not so interested in Earth at this time.
That was from Haracka?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Adrian, and thank you, Haracka. Sorry we couldn't get to you. Or I did ask Peter for help, and
Thank you, James.
he was too busy or whatever.
I remember you all, and much love to you all as well. I am better now, and I am happy. And I'm happy that the Palladians have stepped up to the plate to take honor and to helping former super soldiers that are more interested in saving this planet.
Okay. Adrian, do you have any other information you would like to share before we wrap this up?
Well, I just wanted to share my website, and anybody that would like to have a channeling session, you can go to my website. It's at www.forceversuspower.com. And as always, I look forward to helping others and other super soldiers to find their way in their path, and I take great honor in it. And thank you, James, for having me on the video. I always look forward to another great show with Jessica and Peter. And I think we all work great as a team, and it always gives people a place to look forward to, especially for people that feel like they have been part of the TI group for quite some time now. I look forward to helping them as well with my software called the SRC for You. The software helps with radionics. It has a great results in helping people, and I look forward to working with other clients as well. And I also want to thank James Rink for supporting me in that, and also supporting super soldiers and just sharing their story. And we look forward to making more videos in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Adrian. And be sure, of course, Force versus Power, the link will be in the description. And also visit supersoldiertalk.com to learn more about this story and some other experiences as well. And, of course, I have all sorts of articles and news postings about different Milabs and ET phenomena and so on.
I also wanted to mention too, James, about your neocubes. I worked with James for quite some time now, and as always, I've always wanted to let people know, please purchase a neocube, because the neocubes are a great way for meditation, to get in touch with your Stargate energies. We all have Stargate energies that we can work with, and we can call upon some of these terrestrials that actually do care, and that they do want to come and save the planet, and that we all have the power within to use these neocubes, because it has transformed my life, and I always take great pleasure in letting people know to purchase neocube as well.
Yeah, thank you. And of course, you can learn more about the NeoCube at www.neologicaltech.com. It's in the description. Also, members, be sure to just subscribe to this channel so you can get the latest updates. And if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments section. We may or may not be able to get to them. I'm sure we can touch on some of this old material in future shows, but yeah, so there you have it, folks. Once again, thanks for listening in. And, of course, thank you, Adrian. And sorry, Anthony, I guess his battery died again. It happened last time, too.
Poor Anthony.
This time, yeah, I know.
We love you, Anthony.
Yeah, we love you, too. And so, and we love the audience members, and so that's what all this is about. Is we fight because we do it out of love. So that's the reason.
That's correct.
For you. So until next time, thank you for listening. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Please consider supporting Super Soldier Talk by purchasing your own Neo Meditation device. Your Neo Meditation device will help you reduce stress, integrate trauma, enhance intuition, enhance clairvoyance, and enhance creativity. Get yours now at www.neologicaltech.com.